episode of Boosted Rolls, a War Machine and Horse podcast focused on EU meta, tournaments and tactics. My name is Tomasz and I play Circle and Infernals.
Hey guys, I'm Simon and I stream live on Twitch at twitch.tv/HonestSci. Today with us we have another very special guest and a good friend of mine, a teammate from England Lions this year. Introduce yourself.
Hi guys, I'm Paul and I'm a Protectorate player.
Hey. So it's the first time on the show, and the reason for that is that you won the Warmachine Weekender. Now, for those who are paying attention, that was a little while ago. We do apologise for that. This episode has been somewhat cursed so far. Hopefully the curse is now over, because there were some health issues, some scheduling problems, and so on. Fortunately, the UK meta is a little different from many others and does play sort of everything in War Room is legal. So actually, this info should be still quite relevant. I hope. Let's find out. As I said, first time on the show. How long have you been playing? Sort of what factions got you into War Machine in the first place? And what are your biggest successes so far?
I've been playing since Mark 1, so a long time. I'm a main Protectorate player, but I have 7 other factions that I play every now and then. I've won the Welsh Invitational. I've come third at WTC, won the York Weekender. So I think I'm a reasonable player.
Doing all right. Cool. But which faction was it that got you into War Machine in the first place? I know that you're a main Protectorate, but were you at the beginning of Mark 1? Has it really carried you all the way through?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I have the whole faction, like FA, the works.
And is that because of sort of, is that fluff reasons or just the style or the play style of the faction? What is it that got you in there?
It's both. I like both out of the faction.
Nice. And back in Mark 1, I think fluff was much more of a factor, right, with the books and so on?
Yeah, even in Mark 2, it was a good factor for it when they released the books. They've had some changes in playstyle, especially into Mark 3, but yeah, the playstyle of I'm going to dictate what you do, very controlly, is always appealed to me.
Mm-hmm. And Tomasz, as someone who's obviously I'm the worst person to ask because everyone who's ever spoken to me knows what my thoughts on fluff are, but do you sort of miss the fact that there's little to no fluff anymore? Like, would that...
To be honest, I started playing in Mark 3, so I don't remember times when fluff was relevant.
Well, yeah, that's why I was trying to sort of rephrase the question. I was trying to sort of say, like, you were a Mark 3 player like I am, and so we haven't had any fluff, really, at all. Is that something that you think would have appealed to you if it were there?
No, I don't think so. I think having an interesting story behind the game is cool, but personally, I've never been a fan of fantasy books or stories. It's just not my thing.
All right, so we're both fortunate that we came into Mark 3. I wonder if that's a thing, like Mark 3 attracted players like us where the fluff just didn't matter anymore. I don't know.
I know some of the people from my meta left when a lot of the fluff got taken out. They weren't happy about it. So it could be that the people playing more now are the ones who don't care as much. But I know that it is a factor for some people.
It must have had an effect on the game, right? Because I know it's a big factor for a lot of people. Like, fluff is a big thing. I mean, just because I don't like it, it is a really big thing. It gets people in. Like, I mean, even yes, okay, I'm ultra competitive and don't care about fluff. But one of my first questions were, who are these dragon guys?
Yeah.
Like, they look cool. But it was more like aesthetics, and then my next question was like, okay, so what's their playstyle, But even so, like, my first question was who are the dragon guys, not who are the strongest faction. So the fluff always has a place, I think, even if some people don't like it.
Yeah. Let's talk a bit about the event itself now, that is Warmachine Weekender. Paul, can you tell me when and where it is organized? Who is the organizer and what is the format?
So it's a 2-day event being held at York Racecourse, and it's run by the York Warmachine team, and that's Gavin Beckett. And he set it up beginning of the year to be a really relaxed weekend. So he's trying to focus on it not being hyper competitive and being really fixed to times. And it's a stay there. They've got beds and rooms basically within a 5-second walk to the table, with the breakfast and lunch all done basically where you're playing. So you finish your game, you move your stuff off, you cover the tables up, you eat food, you uncover the tables and start playing again. And it's an amazing weekend. It's the best weekend I've been to for having fun, talking to people, and just really having fun games of Warmachine.
Right. And was it the same weekend as Warfare Weekend in the US?
It was in November. So November the 19th, I believe, is when it was.
All right.
And so it's literally, he basically decided that he wanted to try and have a event that was focusing more on player interaction in the evenings and during the games and stuff, and being a bit more friendly and relaxed and having fun. So like the start times aren't hyper focused on, and like there's no double elimination if you don't finish at time.
All right.
So everything's a lot more relaxed, and it's really, really good.
Great. And what was the faction spread and meta there?
I think the meta's not in a great place. I think certain lists you're going to just see millions of.
And I'm back just at the right time. The meta's not in a great place. Simon's back in the episode. Here we go. Sorry about that. My dog was just having a minute. Right, go on.
But there was a very good mix there. A lot of people were bringing lists that not necessarily they would take to, say, the WTC, just because it was trying to focus a bit more on being a bit chill.
All right.
Was Billy there?
He was playing a circle from the WTC. I beat him in round 5.
Hey, all right, cool.
So there was some of us there who were bringing our WTC lists and playing lists that are very good. But Gavin was really trying. You went to the last one, didn't you?
I did. It was an absolutely superb event. One of my favourites.
Yeah. And it's exactly the same style again. It's great. I really love it.
Yeah, it's such a great event.
So what were the factions highest in numbers there? So the most popular?
Kador was actually pretty big.
Is that a UK thing, or do you think that might apply across?
Because of the fact that Kador is basically Men of Light.
Yeah.
So you can take Doom Reaver Spam, which helps into a lot of matchups, and then you can just take Vlad Free Adjudicator, and that helps into the others.
Oh, okay.
So it gives you a good pairing into a lot of what's on the field.
Okay, makes sense.
Circle and Palm were quite high because they still do well. And I think that's about it. There was a couple of Infernal players, about 4 or 5 of them, but I think when it comes to Infernals, you need to know what you're doing with them.
Absolutely.
But I think people are still trying to get all the models together. Like, we can use conversions and we could use everything that was in War Room, but it's an expensive army to get into.
So it was a month ago, but you are still ahead of meta because Runut and Ragnar were available there.
Yeah, everybody was available. As long as it wasn't a proxy, you could take it.
All right, cool. So you said you brought your WTC pair. What is it?
I brought WTC Harby with a minor change. I took out one of my allegiance and stuck in Orid Midwinter for a bit of extra spell protection. So my Harby list, if you haven't seen it, is Harby with a Hyro and Judy, Vilmon and double Initiates as my free choices, double Champion of the Wall, double Archon, Covenant, Rack Mechanic, Orin Midwinter, Choir, and Mid-Idrians and New Way. And it gives everything that I love to play with. It's really fast, it's really aggressive, it can ask a load of questions, it can answer a load of questions, and Harby's a bit stupid.
You said you have the full FA for the faction?
Yeah.
So why 2 units of Initiates?
Okay, so here we go. It all comes down to Vilmon and the double Champions of the War. So you lose 2 Shield Guards, and pretty much that's it. But you gain 2 Power 12 Weapon Masters if people kill stuff because of Vengeance on the Paladins of the War.
Yeah.
You get the Vengeance from Vilmon, and you get an extra 3-inch threat from double Champions of the War.
All right.
So with Crusader's Call, they threat about 18 inches up the table if you kill a model.
Yeah. When I was asking about it, I was looking at Idrians, but you probably want just cheap triggers for your vengeances.
Yeah. So Mid-Idrians they die. That's their job. But if you ignore them, a minion of Idrians and UA can kill 2 heavies if you can swap the prey nicely with the Judicator help.
Yeah.
They will just go to town. So you have to kill them. I choose which ones die with Martyrs, and then I can just pick one model off the table and go, great, you've now given all of my stuff their triggers.
All right. So we've basically discussed your pair. Is that correct?
And the other one was was my Resnick 2 list. And that was more of an answer for Scorn Immortals, because Immortals are actually pretty difficult for Harby to deal with against a good player, because they ignore 90% of what she does.
And
so you actually have a Scorn answer.
And does it include Void Archon?
We can't ever take the Void Archon.
All right.
We're not allowed to. That's part of the reason that we have to try to think outside the box.
All right. Well, so thinking outside the box, I cannot imagine that I'm the only one interested in your Resnick 2 answer to Zal too. So let's. I mean, even though you didn't necessarily play it too much, because we'll get onto that. But what's tell us about it. What's in there?
So it's again going into Faithful Masses, because I think that's our best theme list by miles at this point in time.
Fair enough.
So Resnick, and you take Madeline, which means that Immortals can't actually hit your caster.
Okay.
So all of their infantry can't attack your caster. So the only thing that can actually kill your caster is spells or like battle engines and colossals.
And they're not spell sling Madeline?
Well, you've got to get line of sight to her.
Okay. And she's just sitting behind a Judy or something?
Or she's sitting behind a huge base, Resnick 2.
Ah, yeah, of course, yeah.
Then you take Scourge, who's got 3 spell vortexes a turn.
Mm-hmm.
Then you take Sanctifier to turn off all of their ability to go incorporeal.
Okay.
Redeemers are actually really good into Scorn at the moment because they've got very low defense.
Yeah, okay. And so how many of those you got?
1 Redeemer and a Crusader. So the Redeemer can sit back and just start taking out the Ancestral Guardians and stuff like that, and just get them off the table and blast damage onto some of the UAs so they can't just pawn it off because they're only armor 12. And as Resnick 2 makes their entire army blessed and magical, none of the Cray buffs work.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You know, Resnick 2's got Lamentation, which means a lot of the spell assassination, if you can get Resnick up the table, just half so much damage they can do to you. And then you just fill it out with Archons, Initiates, and Idrians.
How many Idrians in total?
It's a max unit, because with Resnick 2's feet, everything's RFP.
Okay. So you can take a good number of Immortals off the table. And, I assume that this is not only a theory, that you've played it out. What are the problems? What are the things that you need to be careful of? Like, if we've got some budding men-off players out there who've got a problem with Zal, what are your tips for them with this type of list?
It's all positional. You have to make sure they can't snipe out Madeline. You have to make sure they can't kill off some of your support pieces before you need them to do what they need to do. And you have to kill the right pieces with the Redeemer. Okay,
and so let's go a tiny bit more specific. So give me a top 3. What are the Redeemer top 3 targets?
You want their support. That's its top job. You don't ever fire it into like the Ancestral, like the Supreme Guardians or anything like that, because there's just too many boxes. What you need is you want to get rid of the UAs, you need to get rid of the Arc Nodes, you need to get rid of like Abaddon if you can. I know he comes back a lot, but under his feet you RFP Abaddon.
Right, okay, yeah, so you might be able to get that shot off.
Yeah.
And what are the support pieces on your side that you desperately need not to die before you got them in, and why?
Maddie.
Yep.
And you need to keep Scourge of Heresy alive until you can negate most of his spell assassination.
Can you ever negate most of Zal 2's spell assassination?
Well, if you get rid of all his Arc Nodes, you can sort of keep out the way.
Oh, okay. So once his Arc Nodes are gone and you're sort of away from that sort of threat, then it's a case of like, you can deal with the assassination in other words. Right, okay.
He's probably going to try and bait Scourge out by giving you a juicy target, because Scourge can go across the table really easily with Resnick 2, but at which point your caster dies.
And does Resnick 2's feet deny them souls?
Yeah, so his feet is unboxed.
Yeah, so they don't get them.
Yeah. Interesting. And how about the sort of elephant in the room, the Supreme Guardian? What are we doing about that big chunky boy?
Well, a fully loaded up Crusader under Faithful Masses theme with the +2/+2 on the choir can kill 1 in 1 round without even breaking a sweat. It's power 22.
Okay. I was going to say can or will, because there's a...
So it's blessed, power 22 with a free charge.
And it's got 1 initial?
It's got 2 initials.
A 22 and something else, or a 22 and a 22?
I think it's a 22 and an 18.
All right, so still, going to put some good boxes in. Right, so it is going down.
Yeah.
Nice.
And he can do that from like 10, 11 inches away. And if he's not putting the Supreme Guardians up to threaten, then it doesn't matter.
And he's no real chance of getting crippled off the defensive?
Well, they only get the 2 dice against large bases, don't they?
Oh, yeah, it's not a huge... Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
That's one of the reasons why I specifically built it without huge bases in, so that it limits what the Supreme Guardians can do.
Right, so if you've got any Protectorates out there who've got their Harby and are wondering what to throw in as the second list, and if it's Zal you're having issues with, then give this list a go. I'm sure if it's requested, we can get the actual list up at some point. So that's the list pair. What given that list pair, like in the past, I know most Protectorate list pairs tended to have Harby plus Grimkin answer, but you have Harby plus Zal answer. So is it the fact that you think that the Harby list has changed in a way where it can now handle Grimkin, or is your playstyle simply adapted, or what's the deal with Grimkin?
Grimkin are strong. I don't find them to be as strong as they used to be because of the Angels. There's so much Grievous Runes at the moment that they're going to have to probably not bring as many clocks, and clocks was what was ball breaking against Harby.
Okay. So are you noticing like less than 4 clocks in lists now?
I'm starting to see a lot more 222, going back to the old style.
Okay.
Because of the amount of Grievous Runes that are about. And clocks really fall down under Grievous Runes.
All right. Well, that's going to get that. Keep that in mind when we get on to some thoughts on some potential nerfs coming up later, because I think that'll be an interesting aspect to chat about. Cool. Right. Let's. We've got some time limitations today, so let's get into the battle reports. Unless anyone had anything else they wanted to ask or say. Cool. So I've got in front of me the list of scenarios. First of all, was this broken up into 2 days or 3? I believe it's 2, right?
Yeah, it's 3 on both games. There are 3 on both days, yeah.
Did they change anything, or was it still strength of schedule for second place?
It was still strength of schedule for second place.
Yeah. God, I really want the day when someone comes up with a better solution. I haven't thought of one. I haven't got any suggestions, but I don't like strength of schedule.
No, I don't. I think Gavin changed it. I think he was, if you got to top table, you were first and second, and third place was done by strength of schedule.
Oh, thank God.
I'm sure it's that. I actually prefer that. If you get undefeated to the final table, you should take first and second.
I think so too. I'm like whenever I see someone that played the finals, lose, and then go right, I'm 5th. It's like what the fuck is that?
Yeah, it's BS.
So I'm really glad. Oh, excellent, good news. All right, so let's jump in. Round 1. Who is your opponent?
He was an old player that I've played pretty much every single UK event I ever go to.
Then?
No, Dan Price.
Oh, you just said old.
No, it's like
poor Norbert.
It doesn't matter what event I go to in the UK. If he's in it, I play him.
Fair enough. So, good old Dan, was he taking Legion?
He was. Callus 2.
Callus 2 in...
Well, he had an Archangel and lots of heavies. And he didn't have any of the champion dudes, so I don't know what the theme that Legion have, to be fair.
Well, I should. Hold on. But Dan Price's lists are a smidge unpredictable.
They are indeed.
Do we have 2 Helmets?
Yes, he had 2 Helmets.
2 Helmets. He's probably playing Primal Terrors then.
Could have well been. He could, because he had Golab.
Oh, he had Golab as well. So it's got to be Ravens then.
Or Primal?
Yeah, Ravens or Primal. It's basically Ravens and Primal are largely the same thing with some tweaks. Like, to be honest, it doesn't matter. You just stick 2 Hellmouths in and go from there. Right, so he's got Callus 2 with a couple of Hellmouths, Golab, a bunch of heavies, and some support. Fine.
And an Archangel.
And an Archangel, forgive me, some support, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's on Recon 2. And who gets to go first? Because with Callus 2, that is mighty important.
I did.
Oh.
I'm very happy about that.
Oh, poor bastard. He had a chance. Well, he didn't, but he might have felt like he did. Right. So you go first, and what's in the middle? Remember?
It was a forest.
Forest. All right. So you jump up to the forest, and what does he do?
Yeah, Harby can get super safe. There's like a wall that he's given me that I can hide behind. But on the other side, there's like 2 buildings. So he had a choice between having line of sight to Harby or having no line of sight to Harby. So he gave me the wall.
Fair enough. Yeah, I can see that.
And basically, he puts in the Archangel to try to kill something turn 2 and fails miserably to do it. I think he was trying to kill one of my angels. But it's in the under-ore, so it was needing like 10s. And it wasn't going well for him.
Right. And
I killed the angel without even breaking a sweat. Like, I think Judicate and Enough shoots it off the table in 1 turn.
Right, yeah.
And he goes, right, well, the only thing I can do is try to get an overrun to get Callus into one of his, to get Golab into Harby.
Could he not get his fire immunity and stay? Was it physically impossible to? Oh, you went first, so he couldn't stay out of.
Out of 12. Yeah. And obviously, I'm just purifying all of his stuff every turn. So
I was just wondering if he could stay out of purification threat, but he couldn't. Like,
No.
not if you went first, right?
Yep. And he basically has to kill a healthy paladin on horse and my angel to get the lane open. But he has to do it with Golab because obviously I can just keep on martyring the paladin.
Yeah.
And if he gets them both with, I think it was Golab and a couple of support, then he can get a Sivian in.
Right.
But that's basically, he goes in and doesn't kill anything with Golab at all.
The old, like, you go in with your charge attack that isn't finisher, roll like shit, and then all of your folk fury's gone, and you're like, what the hell's happened?
Yeah, because even though he put up his spell immunity, he still takes he's obviously under awe. So I think he needs like 7s or 8s to hit.
Well, he's Matt
7
base. Yeah, he's 7. Yeah, he's 7. And I'm just thinking you could get a rot wing. Oh, he doesn't have rot wings in that list from the sounds of it, so he couldn't get a sitting vulture. Callus 2 has no mat fixer. Yeah, he's pretty fucked.
Yeah, so I think he needs 8s to hit me. And if you're boosting, he doesn't have enough attacks to kill both solos.
Yeah.
So I was pretty confident that he wasn't going to get in, but he was like, well, I've got no choice. Like, my angel's dead, one of my other heavies is dead, and all your stuff's about to charge me. So I might as well try and go for the lane.
Right. Well, I mean, fair play.
Yeah. And doesn't get it, and that's pretty much game.
Right. Okay. Well, Legion, fair play, and moving on. Round 2, bunkers. How do you feel about bunkers with Harby? With your new version of Harby?
Oh, I love it.
Did you love it before the Angels?
I refused to play Harby before the Angels. I hated her playstyles with a passion. Like, so many people would turn around to me and goes, why aren't you playing Harby? It's just slow, it's boring, and it's predictable, and I can't stand it. And then they brought Angels and Paladins out, and I'm like, yay, I can charge 18 inches up the table.
I should point out that in the England Lions chat, that discussion that he just described was me, almost every week. So Paul, don't know if you've heard, but Harby's quite good. Like, how do you feel about some Harby? Harby, maybe?
No.
Yeah. And this was most of the year. Let's be honest.
Right up to they got at the Angels, I'm like, yeah, I'm playing Harby, and you're like, oh, thank God for that.
Because I mean, Harby was already a hard dodge for me anyway, so the fact that she got better didn't matter. Couldn't be the old version, so fuck the new one. Right, bunkers it is, and who's your opponent?
Ben Thomas playing Scorn. Ben's been around a bit on the UK scene, so he's not a new player, and his Scorn lists were special.
Okay, so they were not Zal 2.
So no immortals at all.
Right.
So he had one which was all of the minion beasts.
Okay.
Disciples of Agony, yeah.
Yeah, and the other one didn't. It looked like he was never going to play it, to be fair. So I didn't even remember it.
Okay, but the one that with all the minion beasts was a bunch of the octopus, squid dudes?
Well, yeah, some of the squid dudes, some of the pig dudes, one of the wrestlers, that sort of thing. So extra rage and speed buffs and stuff.
All right, under which wallop? Mag 3?
Yeah, under Makeda 3.
Fair enough. By the way, for those who are listening, just bear in mind for all of these battle reports that these questions that we're asking, we normally throw these questions out at people who come on and they think back to the last weekend and go, oh yeah, this was how that game went. We're asking Paul about games. Yeah, that was 4 weeks ago. This. So when he has to take a second to think about it, just cut him some slack.
One thing I do remember now that we're thinking back through it, there was 4 bone swarms in the list.
4?
Yeah, and 2 pots to feed them.
Okay. So he's brought some magic, and you're on bunkers, and I don't suppose you remember what was in the middle.
It was open. It was pretty open in the middle.
Okay. Well, that's interesting for bunkers.
I had good line of sight into pretty much his entire army, and I just looked at his list and went, well, there's nothing here that Harby actually is worried about. Because I'm just going to awe you, and you've got no fire stuff, so have fun. And by turn 3, I'm 3-0 up on scenario.
Oh dear.
And half his army's dead. And he goes, I think I can get Makeda 3 into your caster. And
All right.
Okay, how are you managing that? He's like, oh, Makeda's going to go there, kill that one, go there, kill that Idrian, go there, kill that Idrian. And she's got Grievous Wounds, so I can't martyr.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, that's cool. And he goes, okay, so let's do that. And he starts doing stuff. And just before he moves his cast, I'm like, you do realise I feated last turn, right? And every time you advance forward, you're taking a power 14. And he just went, shit. And the angel that you've got to kill means you're taking a power 16 every time you move close to her. And he's just like, shit.
Did he go for it anyway? Please tell me he was a hero and just tried to tank it.
He did.
Yes! Bless him! Yes!
And he charged the angel and missed his charge attack.
Oh!
Then missed his next attack. And then went, I've only got 2 focus left. And there's no way I can kill everything and get all the way down there. Oh.
Still, what an absolute hero for trying it.
So that was that. I won like 6-0 on scenario.
Bless him. Oh, yes. Well done. If you're listening, mate, bravo. Lots of respect for that. That's the only play there. Right, we move into King of the Hill, round 3. Who was your opponent? End of the first day?
So end of the last day was Mark Williams.
First day.
End of the first day, yeah, it was Mark Williams. He was bringing his Kador with him on King of the Hill.
Okay.
And when I say Kador, I mean Men of Light.
Yep.
So it was Blood Free, max unit of Ulahans, max unit of Knights on Horse.
Yep.
And a max unit of the Kador Spray Dudes, the Grey Lords on Spray.
Yeah, the spray ponies, right? What are they called?
The Outriders?
Everybody always just calls them spray ponies. Anyway, so he's got some spray ponies.
And the Judicator.
Okay.
So he out-threats me across the board.
Mm-hmm.
He's got loads of knights. There's a little forest in the middle, but it's off to the side so that he can hide some stuff behind it and then charge around it, basically, to get into my lines.
And when we say he out-threats you, I realise that he's got the range on you, but the stuff that he can put into you at that range, is it at all capable of killing stuff that you care about? Champions,
yes,
angels?
because Ulahans and the Protectorate Cavalry, especially if you trigger Battle Drivel on them, can do a lot of damage.
Right, so they can actually do something. So you're actually genuinely
because all their charge attacks are boosted.
Okay.
And all of their impact attacks are boosted, and he has crit knockdown on quite a few of his guys.
What of yours can be knocked down and what can't? Like, in terms of important shit? Because your Archons can't, right?
I don't believe they can.
I mean, I've never played a game with an Archon, but I just assume they can't be knocked down because they're a new model and they're made by Privateer Press.
Yeah, they can't be knocked down. Champions can't be. Initiates can't be when they are base to base.
But the Idrians and other stuff can. There's a lot of high mat attacks coming my way.
It's worth keeping it in mind, yeah, sure.
And the scenario allows obviously for the middle circle, and there's some other bit of it's going around. So it's a bit, you're thinking about what to do. And then I just realised that I can just feat, and none of his cavalry can charge, because they die before they get there.
Oh, so you can just move up, whack your 2 angels somewhere near the front and feat.
Yeah.
And do you even need the angels?
Well, the angels turn my feet to power 16, which means they kill on 6s.
Right, so you actually do need the angels.
Yeah. And so I go up, I feat, I put myself into a really good position, make sure that his Judy can't kill my Judicator, and go, your turn. And he just goes, bollocks.
I'm noticing a theme.
Next turn, I kill all of the Ulahans with the angels, and keep out of the threat range of the knights on the left, and then tell the spray ponies they're not allowed to give orders, receive orders, or make special attacks.
Just remind me with whom?
With Harby.
Rebuke.
Repudiate.
Yeah.
So I just rebuke the ones on the right, and he's just like, oh. So they can't do anything, no.
And he didn't have Menite Archons for this bill?
He didn't have any, no.
Did he take them in that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a madman. Did he just not have the models?
Yes.
All right.
And then that's pretty much it. I mean, like, with one of his units not able to do anything for another turn, I'm able to score points on some of the objective pieces, and I now really threaten his Judicator, so he's just pulling stuff back and moving things around.
All right.
And then I just win on scenario.
So we've gone through 3 games, and all of them, quite convincing wins, I would say. I think your first fella, Dan Price, with his Legion, I I speak from experience when I say he really didn't have much of a chance. Like there wasn't much he could have done differently. Then you've got your Makeda 3 minion list, and it sounds like with the fact that his list just had nothing that could deal with ore, and he was trying out some good stuff, some interesting stuff, I should say, but it just again didn't sound like it had a great chance into Harby at all.
It's too fast, hits too hard, and really screws over anything that's alive.
So, fair enough. But in the third game, was there something that he could have done differently? Could he have played it in a way where he leveraged... Because it sounded like he had a threat advantage. He had the ability to kill some of his stuff. He had some chances. What did he mess up?
He put his Men off Knights really far in the back left behind the cloud because he didn't want it to get shot by Adrians and stuff. I think that was a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
I think he probably should have pulled them further towards the middle of the table and go, okay, I might shoot one of them, but I will trigger battle driven.
Okay.
And then with the battle driven trigger, he can probably then go in under feet and kill some stuff because they go up to armor 21 base.
And they can just suck up a hit.
Yeah.
And would you do that?
I mean, in that situation, I'd have to.
Right.
Like, if he's giving me the chance to maybe kill 2 or 3, because they were my prey target from Adrian's.
Yeah.
So if he's giving me the chance to kill 2 or 3, I'd probably have gone for the closest ones and taken it, and hoped that that would be enough to keep down the amount of damage coming my way.
Okay. Interesting. So if he'd done that and maybe tried to weave in one tech piece, like a shield guard or something to just mitigate that, give himself more of a chance to keep one alive.
Yeah. But the thing about the Warriors of the Old Face, it starts getting expensive when you start putting in three max cav units.
Right. Yeah. I can. Well, 3 max cav in almost any list is expensive. Never mind those ones. Right. Okay. Fair enough. All right. So then we're moving into day 2. Who's still in the tournament that you're thinking? Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to go through this fella.
Well, Jim Grabwell.
Yep.
He was in. Billy Cruikshanks was in.
Yep.
Ben Thomas was still in.
Mm-hmm.
And a few of the others from Wales, Scotland, and English WTC players were still going.
Okay, so you've still got some WTCs, and you've got the guys that we mentioned. Cool. All right. Were there any of them that you were thinking, crap, he's got a nice list, I'd rather not see that?
Billy.
Well, I imagine we'll chat about that in a minute. So, moving on to Invasion then. Round 1 of day 2, so round 4 in total. Who've you got?
I get Jim Grabwell. I was so happy about that round 1. I really was. I had a headache and everything. We'd been up till 2-3 o'clock in the morning drinking because the bar's open until you want to close it. And I was not suitably impressed with such a hard game.
Yeah, that's delightful. So, Jim comes in, and what's he brought this time?
He's got Old Witch with all his Doom Reavers.
Mm-hmm.
And we're playing on Invasion.
All right.
And so that means my Judicator can't shoot for most of the game because of Winnable.
Yep.
Yay! Great fun. But obviously, my feet really, really fucks over Doom Reavers.
Yeah, they're just boned.
Absolutely boned. And
given that, can you just run Harby up the middle?
Yes.
Right.
This is what I did. Harby was pretty much on the center point, turn 1.
Okay.
As long as he wasn't charging me with his... I made sure he couldn't get threat to me, but basically, yeah. Turn 1's up the table. Turn 2's on. Get as many of the scenario pieces as you can do. Pop feet and go. You can't contest the flags or zones because you just die. I've got a paladin on horseback in your zone. You're not getting him out unless you put a heavy into it.
Right.
Have fun.
Yeah.
And what pieces does he have to threaten the Judicator?
Nothing.
So you can actually fit and put Judicator in the middle of the table to threaten
and spray the hell out of stuff. Yeah, which is what we're doing.
Right.
It was a 5-0 scenario win. I think it was on turn 4.
Did he pick the wrong list?
No.
Jesus.
Because his other list was going to be worse, I think.
Jesus. Was that a bad pairing, or had he just hard dodged Harby and not managed to?
So Jim's a really good player. He's been playing for a very long time, but he hasn't been playing much for the last year. Not since WTC, last WTC. Getting married, sorting out a new business, blah, blah, blah. Takes time.
Yep.
And the Angels coming in, if you haven't played against them under Harby, they just do obnoxious things.
Okay.
They will just kill so much stuff, and they love Doom Reavers. They just walk in on fresher, and they can just take 6 off if you played it wrong.
Right. Oh, that's dirty. Right. I'm so pleased I don't have to play against them. It's like, oh yeah.
I mean, if you're going to start asking me about nerfs, I think you might have to look at removing the fresher from them.
Entirely.
I think that would be from the Angels, from the
And replace it with dual attack? Or not dual attack, replace it with like, what's the one where they get 2 attacks?
A rapid strike?
Well, I don't know, because it's already got 2 attacks, right? It's got a sword that does dispel and a flail that has grievous wounds. Just losing the fresher from them would probably be a nudge down.
You don't think you'd have to give them anything back in return for that? You could just take the thresher clean off and they'd still be all right?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, it basically just narrows their roll.
Yeah.
Good
I
God.
mean, they are too powerful. I will hand on heart tell you that they are just too powerful.
Okay. Well, I mean, when you tell me that, I believe you. Like,
I absolutely love them, but yeah, they're to be able to go, okay, I'm going to go and finish off a heavy with these power 17 attacks, or I'm going to go in there and kill 5 Doom Reavers with a Refresher. It's like one model shouldn't be able to do that. Not for 8
for that
points.
price, yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. So, well, to be able to sort of not casually, but certainly comfortably remove Jim out of round 4 is a very good feeling, I imagine.
Well, it's the first time I've ever beaten him, so yeah.
That gives you some morale going into round 5.
Yeah, it was quite cool.
So all we've got to do now is dodge Billy, and we are golden all the way to the end. So, round 5, spread the net.
Billy!
Hey! And what's he brought? So he's got his exact WTC pair, the Chromac,
so,
and okay.
Kruger 2. Chromac Kruger 2.
Both in bones. God bless him.
Yeah. So I get to the table, and there is not one piece of obstruction on it. There's no there's no walls, there's no buildings. I don't even think there's a trench on the table.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh. And then you look, and there's 4 big forests and 2 clouds. I'm like, oh.
Oh dear.
Great. Spread the net against Kruger 2 with no walls, no obstructions, nothing to hide anything behind.
And why Kruger 2 worried you? I mean, you have Orin in the list.
See, Orin was put into my list deliberately because I played pretty much the exact same list the week before at Nationals against Brett.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same situation. It was a spread the net with nothing but forests, so I had nowhere to hide, and he just TK'd the shit out of my army and killed me.
So it was like an almost a specific answer that you happened to then meet.
Yes.
Marvellous.
Like, I'm not letting that happen again. Orin's getting put in the list.
Fair enough.
And the exact same thing happens again. So I hand over my list and go to the toilet. And when I come back, Billy's spitting feathers. And
for those who are not British, what does spitting feathers mean?
he's angry, but not in a I'm going to come beat you up way. It's sort of like it's an endearing term for like, what the fuck are you doing putting Orin Midwinter in your list for?
You bastard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
So like I've come back and Ben's laughing his ass off. And I'm like, what's the matter, Billy? He goes, why the fuck have you put Ben? Like, Orin's in your list. Why have you put Orin in your list? I went, well, because I fucking hate TK. And he went, I wanted to win this game, you fucking ass.
Excellent.
And so it made me feel a bit happier that I changed my list and it worked.
That's excellent. And has he made any... did you chat with Billy at all? Has he made any changes to his list in WTC? Has he made some tweaks or anything?
I don't believe so. I think he thinks it's pretty solid.
Well, it was, but yeah. I just wondered if anything had changed.
There actually was a change. He went back to playing World Words instead of 5 heavies.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really? He upped the wall words. Okay. And was that after a chat in the circle group, or...?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Do you know what that was targeting?
I don't think he was targeting anything particularly. Kruger is just a great generalist list, and he went back to what I think is a better, more all-around version of the list. And when I say better, I mean better in this format where it's no longer WTC, so you cannot really dodge or target anything in particular with your main list.
Well, I suppose for a while he was targeting Grimkin, right?
World Words are good into Grimkins too, so that doesn't make a big difference, I think.
Right. Doesn't weaken it too much.
Yeah, and also we were talking about Hermit versus Gallows Grows, because after some testing I wasn't really sure which version I like more. And I think in the end he opted to take a requisition slot of 3 Gallows Grows.
Yeah, he had all the trees you can take.
Oh, right.
Not all the trees, you can have 4, but he had like 3 of them, so...
I think you can only take 3 and then you port 1 in, right?
Yeah, you put one in with the well.
Which is what he did.
No, you can have 4 and port 5th.
What? How can you have 4?
Because they are FA4.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Cheeky bastards.
I did not know that. Okay.
I did not know that either.
Okay, so he had nearly all the trees you can take.
All right.
Yeah, but really, they could be FAU and it wouldn't make a huge difference. It's not a working model.
Oh, but how many cool
Oh, if they were
themed...
FAU, I would not be a happy person.
How many themed... Yeah, how many people would have gone, right, fuck you, Harby?
Yeah.
you see this? You see what's in the centre of the thing? It's a forest, but it's my forest. Like,
50 gallows groves.
just base to base, 13 gallows groves. Right. Let's go.
So what happened was a 7-turn, pretty much 2-hour-long game where we were just maneuvering and peace trading little bits of each other's army, trying to stop each other from scoring and doing stuff. It gave me a headache at the end of the game.
What turn did he feat and what turn did you feat, approximately?
He feated turn 3.
Okay.
And we was discussing at the end of the game, I think he feated wrong. He feated and didn't put much that could threaten the Judicator.
Okay.
So he put all his stuff into threat range and then feated. And then I could just move the Judicator like 5 mil to the right and be out of all of their threat ranges.
Mm-hmm.
So the Judicator could still sit in the zones and
Not aggressive
threaten
enough.
stuff. Yeah.
So, sorry, who went first?
I did.
Mm-hmm.
I believe. I went first.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting, because if you go first, Kruger would usually like to feed bottom of 2.
Because of the middle of the board was so open, and he couldn't push any of my solos out of the zone because obviously the champions of the wall can't be pushed.
Yep.
Even if he feated turn 2, it wouldn't have got him anything.
So why bother?
Yeah, and do you think your fit is any relevant?
It's not relevant at all.
Yeah.
It's completely pointless. I don't. If I feated, I think I feated turn 6 with her. I might as well do this now because it's turn 6.
Right. See whether anything happens. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what really pivoted the game in my favour was the Judicator shooting 1 round in the well.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Bit spicy.
Basically, I turned around to Billy and on my last rocket shot, I went, "What do I need to kill it?" And he went, "You need a 666, so don't fucking do it, you bastard." And I rolled 4 6s.
Oh.
Removing 6 from science importance is like...
He's like, "I'll have that." And he was just looking at me and I was just like, "Sorry, Billy." And then
He's like, it's not okay. It's not okay. You're not forgiven.
Not okay. And then an angel who was angry. It was an angry angel, and 3 initiates charged and killed a heavy that was stopping me from scoring my flag on the same turn.
Oh, that's a rough turn.
And then Vilmon, because that heavy was dead, I still had Vilmon to go into it, but because I killed the heavy with those 4 models, Vilmon was able to walk into his zone and go stone.
Oh,
so
God.
I stopped him scoring. I scored my flag. I killed the well and a heavy in 1 turn. And that just tipped everything in my favour for the last 2 turns. And he was just like, bollocks.
You've got to give it to Billy for holding down for 7 turns when that sort of nastiness happens in one of them. Like, I'm sure, of course, there'll have been other things in other turns, but, that happens and you still hold out. Not bad.
It was a good game.
How did you clear the sentry stones, by the way?
The sentry stones? One was a spray and the other one was a paladin on the wall.
Okay.
The champion on horsey. The spear kills that.
Okay. Fair enough. And was he, he just wasn't able, there wasn't enough terrain that he wasn't able to get him out of your way?
Well, as the game progresses on, you're killing the stuff that he's needing to contest or putting stuff in the way, and then you can get line of sight to stuff.
Right. Okay.
It's like when you play this matchup, it's the hardest matchup for Harby to play. That's a playable matchup for her because it is so positional based, and it's no one's ever just going to go, "Oh, I win." It's I can remove that heavy and hope I don't lose enough in exchange. Oh, I can remove your colossal. And it's chipping away at each other's lists and scoring the odd point here and there because we're both trying to control each other what we're doing, and it's really freaking annoying.
Just down and dirty.
Yeah,
and he's just upset about Orin. Did Orin? So what? Did Orin work his magic, or was it just on paper he was a threat?
Well, it meant I could do things like put both of my angels into a zone, put some shield guards around them, and then stick Orin behind and go. He's like, well, I could waste enough every single bit of my focus doing nothing but trying to get TKs to work to kill 1 angel, and it's just not worth it because then everything dies afterwards.
And it's a very specific situation when you are playing spread the net. So the only scenario without objective, Orin can go stealth, and Kruger is not playing Miss Speaker anymore, so he cannot really do anything.
Yeah. It's a really interesting piece to put in, and it makes it a lot easier for me to be able to put my models where I want my models to be.
Perfect. So we get into we're now moving into the finals, and obviously yours was a 2-hour game. So by the time you finished it, you should have known who your opponent was going to be.
Yeah, I did.
And it was
Ben Hampshire.
Alrighty. And who had Ben played his semi against?
That I don't remember. I would have preferred any of the others.
Was it done Scottly not?
I think I still have.
The tiebreak up or whatever. Was it DSL?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
He's playing Grimkin DSL.
No. All right. So, and Ben was taking his mercs?
No. Ben had Vlad 2 Doom Reavers and Vlad 3 Men of Light.
All right. And so you've already played against Vlad 3 Men of Light, and you've already played against Doom Reavers, and both of those games have gone systemically well for you.
Yeah, it's a bad match.
What's why? I mean, obviously Ben's a superb player, but other than that, what is it that you are nervous about going into that final?
So Ben's list, I knew that he was going to drop Vlad 2.
Okay.
Because his Vlad 3 list, we was talking about it like after the game. It wasn't as polished as it could have been. He had certain solos, certain units in there, which I think weren't adding value to the unit.
Okay.
And he didn't. I think he only had like one angel in the list, and he had a little horsey do with the flamethrower, the eye of whatever.
You mean
the solo?
The dude of Menoth.
The one who collects souls.
We'll get there in a minute. Someone's Hand of Silence.
That's the one. And it wasn't going to be able to do enough to break through the Harby list, so I knew that he was going to drop Doom Reavers.
Okay.
And Vlad 2 Doom Reavers is a different game because he can throw them very far, very strong. Like 3 Doom Reavers can take a Colossal out under his feet.
When you say it's very different, you mean very different from the Old Witch game that we've already talked about?
Yeah.
Right, okay, yeah.
So I could shoot to my heart's content, so I'm okay doing that. But his Doom Reavers go farther, hit harder, are harder to hit, and he had double Void Archon.
Okay.
So no martyring.
And has he managed to paint those up yet? Because his painting's usually pretty special. Are his Void Archons looking sweet or?
I think he was using proxy conversions. He was waiting for them to come in because obviously it was a month ago, and getting them into the UK is a bit awkward.
Sad times.
But basically, we picked this, we sat down, we looked at the table, which had lots of buildings and rubble around, so I could just hide stuff, and Judy, like, he was never going to get to Harby with anything.
And did it look like that's what he was angling for?
Basically, Ben said after the game that he was trying to kill the Judicator, maybe kill the Angels, and then getting on Harby with a feat.
Okay. So he was planning to kill Judy or Angels without feet?
Which is doable if your opponent lets you, especially as you generally put the Angels a bit far forward to be a positional threat.
All right.
And Void Archons can do some pretty interesting shenanigans.
Fair enough.
Because they can, if you've ever played against them, they can teleport after they make a ranged attack, I believe, and then make their melee attacks.
I haven't played against them. I've been out. Yeah.
They get to move, spray, teleport a good at like 8 inches or something, and then make melee attacks. All of which you can't make saves against because they've got entropic force.
So how about the Void Archons? What did they manage to kill anything that you weren't expecting? Did they get in on you and do some damage, or did you manage to mitigate them?
No, they're pretty hard to mitigate, but his dice were not friendly to him, so they didn't kill pretty much anything.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
What was he theoretically getting in on?
He could have killed one of my paladins on horseback, and he could have killed an angel and some Midrians, and I don't think he killed anything. Like, Vlad 2's feet turn was just a complete wash. He didn't kill a model, I don't believe.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And because of the way the table was set up, I could put Judicator basically in a space that was wide enough for Judicator's base. But then in front of that was buildings. So to get anything into the Judicator, he had to funnel them between those two buildings straight into the Judicator's flamethrower firing arc.
Right.
And Judicator was in a zone at the same time. So it was pretty much perfect for me.
And did you pick sides, or...?
No, I went first.
You went first, and he gave you a side that gave you that.
The other side was just had stuff that I could hide because where the train was, it was further up the table. So in theory, I'd have to move up Harby and all the others to get the zone out.
Okay.
The bubble of ore and the feet working. Whereas on his side, there was something that I could sit back, which was just past the 12-inch line. So I could literally just put Harby there, and then he would never kill her.
Okay. So the table was maybe a bit unkind. Well, unkind in that either side gave you something to work with.
Yeah. And then obviously the flamethrowers and the rockets do a lot of work against Doom Reavers. And I could funnel them into a tight space to kill them. And my feet just does what my feet does. You move up your feet on all of the flags. You take yours, you can test his, and you go from there. He made a few mistakes.
Okay.
But this is like he sent his clamjack to the far right zone.
Yep.
But to do it, he went around the forest, so it didn't get into the zone until like turn 3.
Okay.
And then by the time it got into being able to do anything, it was like turn 5, and I was already really up on scenario, and I didn't have to worry about it.
So what should he have done with it?
That should have gone down the middle and sat near the flags.
Okay.
And just gone, you can't kill it because it's armor 20 stupid.
Any other mistakes?
Scoring. Not really. I mean, if he would have done more with his feet, which was just dice, if you miss attack rolls when you're mat 8 against something that's def 13, it's
unfortunate.
It's hard to do. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah. So what we're saying is that he played it, as far as you can tell from a game plan point of view, pretty well. He put the feet on the right models. He reached models with all of the models that were supposed to charge.
His dice failed him at the right turn. But
and
even
his
with the
void
good
icons
feet,
and his feet boned up.
Yeah, but even with the good feet, I was already so far ahead that the good feet wouldn't have won him the game. It would have just given him points.
And a chance to maybe try and start a comeback if your dice
7 and yeah.
So was the match was it a problem with his pairing then? But his Vlad 3 list wasn't built correctly, and he should have been able to play that into you, or what do you think?
He seems to think that's the case.
Okay, and you disagree because the way you phrased it sounded like
I agree. Like from him, from like the talking we had afterwards, because he said outright that he didn't feel it was a game he could win unless I made a big mistake, because he's not played the matchup a lot, where I've obviously played it 3 times in one weekend.
Sure.
And I know my lists because I took them to WTC and we practiced as much as we did. And it's the first weekend he's out taking them outside of his local meta area.
Right.
And he has changed his Vlad 3 list to a bit more like mine was that I took to the WTC.
Fair.
And he's doing really well with that at the moment. He's quite happy with that from what I can tell.
I spoke to him briefly because we were talking about doing some stuff on my stream, maybe doing like an AI-driven D&D campaign or something that his mate programmed. And he was. I was asking him like, so how's the mercs going? He's like, I'm on K-Door. I was like, ooh, fucking hell, that's happened quickly. Nice, cool. Well, congratulations. That sounds like an interesting finals. How did it get into the end game? Like, when did the game actually finish? When was the handshake given? What was the victory?
He conceded turn 4 after his feet went absolutely horrible. But at that point, I think I was like 4-1 up on scenario and was easily going to get 3 points next turn.
Right, so it was just a clean up at that point.
He had like 15 models, 20 models left, and he hadn't killed anything really. Oh
yeah, I mean, if a Vlad 2 feet does nothing, you can pretty safely say you're fucked usually. And so, what was the deal in the evening then? Was it another evening of debauchery and drinking, or was it time for everyone to immediately go home? I don't know.
I've got a wife and a 3-year-old. If I stayed out Sunday night as well, she'd kill me.
So debauchery it was.
Friday night was good. People were up until like 2 o'clock. They opened the venue really early Friday. I think it was like from 11 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
So people were playing scrambles and pickup games right up until 2-3 o'clock in the morning, and then the game started at about 9.
Okay.
And then I was still going 3-4 o'clock Saturday night. Some of the others were still drinking. Like people were just like Norbert. If you've ever seen Norbert drunk, he's absolutely hilarious. But he tries to get you as drunk as he is.
Yes.
And so he was just passing around a big bottle of whiskey.
Right.
So
well received.
Yeah, it was really nice actually.
Fair enough. And for those who are wondering why the episode is a month late, it's because Paul did go out on Sunday and he's just come out of hospital. We mentioned the health issues, and we thought I'd just tidy that up for everybody. Right, we've heard about some incoming nerfs, and we've got about 10 minutes left, so let's talk about them. Harby. It's been sort of pretty much confirmed that something's coming. What do you think it will be? What do you think it should be? And how do you think that will affect your choices of whether to play or not going forwards?
PP are making minor buffs at the moment, aren't they? They're trying to do things incrementally rather than being heavy-handed with stuff. So I think what they might do is return Aura Marta back down to 10 and maybe give her a points decrease from her Warjack pool.
So your guess is Martyr aura, not ore as well.
No, both go back to 10. The feet
Both.
and the martyr and ore go back to 10.
Okay.
It's the 12 inches, the extra 2 inches probably tipped her over a bit.
Okay.
It was totally unnecessary.
So all back to 10. And in addition to that...
Maybe take away a warjack point. Yeah. But not much, like 1, maybe 2 points.
Okay.
Because that's what they seem to be doing at the moment. They seem to be just like taking 1 or 2 points away here or massaging one of their rules a little bit to see if that helps tip the scales.
So that would basically reverse her to the state before the exemplar CID.
Yeah. And when she got changed to the exemplar CID, everybody said, why did you change it? She didn't need it.
Yeah.
It just came out of the blue.
Yeah. So do you think those changes would change anything in your pair?
Not really.
You'd still play her, same list?
Yeah, I probably, if they like took points away, I might lose the mechanic.
Yeah. Okay.
She still does what Harby does.
Yeah, I like those changes that you are proposing, but what if they change martyrdom to D3+1 and make you so you can martyrdom a model only once per turn?
Sorry, once per turn?
Yes, correct.
They won't do that because they don't want major bookkeeping.
All right.
So having to put markers down, I can't do anything to that model, I can't master that one model again, is not what they want. They don't want that stuff in the game.
Yeah, you'd have to cover the table with markers, right? Because if someone says, right, I'm shooting this injury and that one, this one, that one, and then I'm just going to pop this one, and you're like, wait, did you already master that one? I don't know.
They say they don't want that sort of confusion in the game, so I don't expect that to happen.
So I'm asking because there was a podcast, I think it was Minority Report with Hungerford, and he said that they are going to change something about martyrdom to remove the feels bad when someone is rolling only 1 on martyrdom. So that sounds like they are trying to do D3+1, but I don't think that's enough.
Or just do a flat 2.
I wish to God they'd do a flat 2. Stop doing D3 plus anything. Wankers.
I mean, like, just a flat 2 would mean that you don't feel bad that you're taking 3 points of damage and your opponent doesn't feel crap that you're taking 1. And it allows you to spend your resources better.
Yeah, I like just flat 2, but also I like the gamble of the last martyrdom when she's like on 3 boxes and do you want to martyr? Because usually in those situations, if you martyr, you might die, but if you don't, you might just lose on scenario or something like that.
Yeah.
So.
But D3+1 would mean that it would really, really limit that ability by a lot.
That's a huge change.
Yeah,
like
that's massive. That might.
Would that stop you from playing? Would you then consider something other than Harby?
It would be something that I'd have to look at.
Right.
This list is slightly different because the only things that you really ever martyr are
champions.
The champions.
Yeah.
Because you don't really give a shit about
and
those. And
Velmon, I guess.
Pardon?
And Velmon, I guess.
Yeah, but see, Velmon's late game. He starts doing his thing turn 4, turn 5.
And Book.
Book is situational. Sometimes I'll just let it die. Because, yeah.
When we talk about the nerfs, we also mentioned that there's a likely Clockatrice nerf coming, but the way that you spoke about them suggests that the amount of Grievous Wounds that they've just been flat pouring into the game since as far long as I can remember, it almost sounded, and that's why I want to bring it back up now, it almost sounded like you didn't think they needed it anymore.
They're cheap. Maybe they'll go up in price.
But you'd be happy for them to keep their rules as is?
I mean, when was the last time Grimkins won an event?
Don't know. You tell me.
I mean, I don't remember them winning an event. You know, like certain players like Pat, maybe DSL, like Dan Scott Linton, they're up there. But to play Grimkin really well, you need to have a lot of reps of them. And if you have games against them, it gets to a point where you start to know what they're going to do. And you can play the game. So I don't think they need a massive nerf back to the face.
So what would you do? You just knock the points up too? They
do a lot, don't they? They've got open fists,
paralysis sprays,
paralysis,
auto repair, stutter.
I mean, like all of that for what's on their card is ridiculously cheap.
Agreed. So what would you change? The card or the price?
The price. I think if you put them up, say 1-2 points,
don't they then just become a third heavy, and then it's just a case of which heavy is better, and then Grimkin goes back to being take as many of that heavy as you can.
Yeah, it means because what you're taking.
They don't have a lot of choice, then, do they? Is what I'm saying. They've got 3 expensive, very powerful heavies. Isn't it better to let them have a slightly less powerful heavy that's still cheaper?
Well, then you're going to have to maybe take stutter away.
Yeah, completely.
That's their biggest problem. That's what everyone's got a ball ache about, right?
Yeah, for sure. Interesting. Just remove stutter. All right, you heard it here first. We're taking stutter away, boys.
Well, you give them a different mechanic, but that's the one that everybody complains the most about. Like, you can't pin it down. It's really hard to stop to actually kill it in combat, and you need to take reliable shooting to finish it off after you put a heavy into it. So if everyone's got a ball ache about it, that's the thing that probably needs to be changed.
Fair enough.
Yep. I can tell you what's the rumor. The rumor is that they are going to make stutter once a turn, and the spray is going to be crit paralyze instead of just straight paralyze.
Okay, if that's not a bad rumor.
Crit paralysis, like straight up paralysis, was always nuts, and it was one thing that annoyed me almost more than the stuttering. But I think once per turn adds a bit of bookkeeping. For a stun, it's not as bad as what we discussed, but it feels, it's along the same lines. So I'm not entirely sure that that's going to happen. But paralysis to crit paralysis, good change.
Yeah, and honestly, one stutter doesn't change them too much, right? Because
it's the one stutter that matters. Yeah.
You don't generally put more than two things into it to kill it anyway. No, I think one stutter won't be as huge a nerf as people think it is, because the first stutter is the important one anyway. Yeah, I agree.
All right, cool. So, just before we sign off, what are your plans for the future? Have you got any tournaments that you're planning to go to soon, or anything in your local meta that you'd like to big up and introduce people to? Or?
Well, the UK scene, especially around near where I live, is interesting. That towards the end of November, the big tournaments just disappear until about February, March. So I'm now just playing stupid lists and having fun. Things like double zealots and stuff.
Okay. And in February, how does it kick off? What's the UK event to keep your eyes open for?
I think the first one in the calendar is probably going to be the York Weekender again.
Hey!
I think I would really like him to do them at the very beginning of the scene, at the very end. So that it's like, hey guys, I'm not seeing you for Christmas. How's everybody doing? Have fun, play games. Then you do all the serious, really RC games. And then at the very end, you'll make friends again and play and have drinks. I think that works quite nicely.
Yeah, that indeed sounds good.
It would be good if it like marked the start and end of the Warmachine calendar. Like, York's coming round, time to think Warmachine again. Yeah. That would be nice. Oh, my cat's just jumped on me. Right, okay. I'll try and stop him nuzzling the microphone. And how about you, Tomasz? What's your next, your upcoming tournaments and anything you'd like to boost for your local meta?
So for me, it would be the Polish Team Championship, which is 17th to 18th of January in Warsaw.
Is that a 3-man or a 5-man?
A 3-man.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next weekend we have Conquest in Oslo, Norway.
I highly recommend that one. That's a great one.
And another one that people can reasonably plan for because it's 4 months away. In the last weekend of March in Krakow, we have Primal Arc, and that's 3rd edition of it. It's going to take place in a hotel, one of the hotels here in the city. I don't know which one, but if you need any details, please contact me. I will help you. And something to keep in mind, the tournament is going to have painting requirement. So
is Marcin doing that, like running that one again, like he was last time?
Yeah, Marcin is one of the organizers.
Okay, then if it wasn't for the painting requirement, I would recommend that one as well. I really enjoyed last time. That was superb, really fun. But I mean, obviously, I live quite close to Poland, so for me, it was a very comfortable one.
Yeah, the painting requirement for the first year was maybe a bit feels bad when you advertise a tournament like 3-4 months in advance and people need to paint. But now, at least in Poland, we know that it's going to be every year. It's going to be in March and it's going to have painting requirements. So now
people
it's
can
easier
kind of keep it in the calendar.
It's easier to prepare for it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's, if you're going to do a painting requirement, again, I don't think so, but if you are, then that's the way to do it. Yeah, sure. Cool. Well, my local meta is my Twitch channel. So once again, twitch.tv/honest that's SI, not like no. I know a lot of you have been jumping on. It's been a real pleasure to catch up with some of you. I don't get the chance to come to tournaments at the moment this year, and it's a real shame because it's a community that I love. So if you ever get a spare 5 minutes, I stream every week, Monday to Thursday, 8 till 11. PM, that is. I'm not a fucking mentalist, and it would be a real pleasure to catch up and obviously come and check out the content, see if it suits you at all. It is computer gaming stuff. Do apologise, it's not Warmachine, but I do play a bunch of stuff and do take requests and so on for stuff to play. So it would be great to see you on there. Right, any final Bits and pieces before we sign off?
Yeah, I'd like to take a minute to say thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. Even the smallest support helps me to stay motivated to maybe move some things in my life and find more excuses to put the time towards Warmachine, towards podcasting, towards tournaments, towards editing the tracks. So thanks a lot. It means a lot to me, and I appreciate the help.
Yeah, it's a really good thing. I'm really proud of all those people that are sort of recognising the work that especially Tomasz puts into all the audio editing and so on. Really appreciate it. It lets us keep doing it with the sort of passion that we want to be in the content. So that's great. And Paul, many thanks for coming on. It's been far too long since we managed to speak again after WTC, and hope to see you again soon.
Thanks for having me on, guys. It's been fun.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Keep winning, and we'll see you again soon. All the best, guys. Take care.
So, bye.
Yeah, take care. Bye.